The Auditor General's report of 2021-2022 on Uganda Revenue Authority indicates that 34.7 billion shillings have been added to the entity's 534 billion shillings budget that eventually amounted to 568 billion shillings. COSASE has, on this background, launched inquest into the authority's decision, citing lack of approval from Parliament to spend the quoted funds.
Not say, okay, the budget that we are forwarding to Parliament is of 568 billion. However, do appropriate 534 because we have a balance of 34.7. So looks like you realize later that we have this 34.7. Let's find something to do with it, which you had not planned for, because your budget was 534 billion. How then do you get to want to add another 34.7 billion? Because if you had need for it, my thinking is you should have planned for it and had it included in your budget. So your budget should have been total 568. So what happened there? And then,
according to the Revenue Authority, in 2020, some activities were not carried out due to COVID-19. Effectively, the money was unspent. In regard to the failure to seek permission from Parliament, Commissioner John Rujoki Musinguzi confirms having addressed the Finance Ministry and approval was extended.
Everything did not happen at the speed that it was anticipated, whereas in the previous financial year, Parliament had appropriated for us a budget to recruit additional staff. And because we could not easily administer interviews of big numbers, when we sent out the adverts, we got overwhelming responses. And then we could not gather people together to be interviewed. We had to administer online interviews. And the processes took inevitably much longer than anticipated. So there were balances carried forward from that activity of recruitment. Some of it goes to NSSF, others goes directly to the wages. And so these are some of the unutilized resources, which we are now asking the Ministry of Finance to allow us spend on unfunded priorities. They were important, they were submitted, but they had not been allocated funds.
One extra challenge regarded the 1.2 billion shillings that was given to the entity as grant. The committee expressed interest as to why there was non-disclosure to the Auditor General.
There is money which they did not disclose. That's a grant that they received, 333,000 US dollars. That's about 1.2 billion Uganda shillings. Now, when any entity, government entity, receives a grant, they are supposed to declare that money, and it is supposed to be captured as part of their budget, and they forward that to Parliament. They did not do that for that amount, which is problematic as well.
So many recruitment gaps cited by the Auditor General. We want to understand how is recruitment done within URA. We hear people are just handpicked. People pick their relatives. So we want to understand the chronology of recruitment within URA. Similarly, we discovered the billions of money that were not disclosed by URA. They received the money from specifically World Bank, utilized it and or used it without approval of Parliament, without appropriation by Parliament, and we want to understand where did they get that authority? Two, what was that money used for? Who shared the money? And it's a bit outrageous.
Ultimately, COSASE has resolved that URA should revert to Parliament tomorrow with proof in writing from the Ministry of Finance regarding the 34.7 billion shillings, as well as the documents pertaining the received grant.
The Ministry of Finance granted them permission. We don't know. We are going to ascertain that. But more important than the Ministry of Finance, Parliament is the one that appropriates money. So you cannot say that because for us we are the ones who collect, so we can keep a lot more.
The investigations into URA continue tomorrow. Smart24 TV Business Today.